As many of you will know, I am definitely a pessimist when it comes to Sea of Thieves, so if you're new here, you might not want to hear this. Season 9 is a terrible update. No, I'm just kidding about that. Season 9 looks really good in terms of giving players what we asked for, fixing some huge issues, and even has something I personally asked for. In all seriousness, Season 9 is fantastic in a vacuum, but in the context of our update system and the content, or lack thereof, surrounding this season, it sort of worries me about the next few months of the game. Let's get into it. Obviously, keep an open mind in this, opinions aren't all black and white, so you should be able to see what I mean at the end of the video. Everything featured in the Season 9 trailer is really good, and Rare has some huge wins. It's just not enough to carry an entire third of the year. The main feature, the Chest of Fortune and its reward system, is the most exciting thing on the list. Having a seasonal commendation based around doing world events that cannot be blitzed through in 1 week is a great decision from the team, especially considering one of the cosmetics you earn from this are a new set. The Chest of Fortune will be worth 20k before emissary value, making it the second most valuable piece of loot in the game. It should, at least early in the season, bring crews together to fight over the Fort of Fortune. Grandpa Ray is always banging on about how good OG forts were, and this aims to recapture that magic. The other headline feature is a commendation for turning in both kinds of Reaper's chests. They're the same chests as before, but the beacons remain permanently when they are picked up. This way, you don't have to keep track of them on the map. And that pretty much wraps up the new activities for Season 9. It's sort of on par with a monthly update from 2020 in terms of headline content. There are plenty of other quality of life changes too. Some of the standouts aren't even in the trailer, but have been confirmed on the reveal livestream. Sticking with the world events, they're going to be rebalanced for different crew sizes, so solo players should be rid of a bunch of tedium surrounding them. It's a nice little change and it will be great for solo players. But is it going to fundamentally change the way we interact with content? We've already been doing this for 5 to 2 years depending on the world event type. Will it feel fresh for returning players, or just easier for them? I suppose it depends on the crew size. Oh, and the Flameheart World event is back after over a year, with the best part of it missing. In all honesty, it's great to have the world events back up to full strength. These next two changes are great. The harpoon will now automatically deposit loot behind you, allowing for loot to be scooped up quicker. I hated how clunky the harpoon could feel at times, although will this lower the whole risk versus reward pinch points? These are the same pinch points the loot has been designed to create, so we'll have to see. In my personal favourite change, you can now sell loot directly from the collector's chest. And this even works with multiple items from different factions. There's no more fiddling around taking items out, just press one button and the contents are sold, with the chest remaining. You can also still sell the chests afterwards if you see fit. And for some reason, this just wasn't shown in the trailer. The world is getting some fixes. Megs will be spawned again in the proper places, fog can spawn in new areas, and shipwrecks will spawn around the empty spaces between islands, not way out near the Red Sea. These changes are a tiny nod to Shrouded Spoils, but as far as I know, there are no rewards for interacting with these bug fixes. Red Sea runners will finally get egg on their face, as the loot will respawn in the safe zone should they choose to run away with the loot. This was a point of frustration for many players, where sore losers will throw their toys out of the pram should they be outmatched. There's a whole bunch of Redditors in bits at this change. Birds will spawn over loot dropped by other players, which is about 5 years overdue at this point, so thank you very much. Pirate Legends get new voyages which are purchasable with doubloons. There's 3 to choose from, with one featuring a new item. One gives you kegs, it seems a bit like Black Powder runs, one gives you guaranteed cursed loot, and one allows you to get the Skull of Destiny. The Skull of Destiny is a ritual skull that can toggle each Flame of Fate, obviously making the Fort of the Damned much easier to start. I wonder if there'll be any new rewards tied with any of the existing commendations, or even new commendations tied with this. Or will these just end up as an elaborate way to earn gold? Bait crates are coming, for all 8 people who enjoy fishing in this game. I jest, but this will be useful purely for getting bait out of your storage crates. There's even a brand new radial to access bait on demand, despite this brand new thing existing in the game already. There's also a food radial to select which food you want. It remains to be seen if this will be faster than just cycling with a hotkey. The quality of life stuff keeps on coming. You can now change your flag at the customization chest by the shipwright. Stephen Spoils gets a new member, Adelric, to replace Merrick. Mermaid statues are now rebalanced, which means they're easier and give out more gems. Lastly, The Season Pass is a clear winner, and I will be changing my jacket for the legendary Bone Hunter one. This is actually from way back near launch. It used to be featured in a Wilds clothing store, but got removed when people kept asking for it. Now it's back and a fitting reward for the 5th anniversary. The new clothing set will be an instant fan favourite. People will be wearing this a lot. After suffering through the Emporium costumes and recolours in regular stores, this precedent should continue from now on. So the season looks really great on paper, right? And it looks like it will be good in practice too, at least for a short while. Now here's where the classic complaining comes in. Did I tell you I complain a lot? Season 9 was delayed from December 2022, where it was slated to be new social options for crews. Now, after a really quiet Christmas period and another 4-month season, the only new thing we're getting is a new chest and some small changes to remove the tedium from the game. When you consider this is a third of a year's worth of content and Season 10 will not be out until July, can we really be pleased with one of the 3 big updates that we get each year being this small? It does feel like this was knocked up last minute because the Season 9 feature got delayed, and we know that it was delayed due to the last podcast. I'm happy to put my neck on the line for this one, because we're in the recent reveal bias and loads of you are not going to be happy with me saying it. This update is not worthy of a season. The size of this content update is similar to that of a monthly update from 2020. It will be great for new players, but are we going to have a revolving door where every season brings in new players, but doesn't support the players that joined even the season before? Also, don't get me wrong, we've come off the best season so far in Season 8. Seasons were extended basically because of adventures taking up dev time and captaincy being delayed. Now that we're past all that, adventures are MIA until further notice, and seasons are getting smaller despite them being reduced to 3 per year. Logically, we would expect bigger content drops with less updates. That was the whole idea behind seasons, but it hasn't materialised correctly. The adventure thing is really confusing too, as 12 was delayed, allowing for Anniversary and Season 9 to shine, which would imply there is a big piece of content here, like Legend of the Veil. So now we have adventures a way off in the distance, the mystery which begins after Anniversary, and a small season. This is it for the first 7 months of an entire year. And don't expect a mid-season reveal or update, or bank on a Pirate's Life 2 coming in Season 10. No one knows that for sure. There's no evidence for it whatsoever. We had that Adventure 11 tease with the temple, and it was backed up at Christmas with the teasers. Yet it looks like we'll be waiting at least 4 months for that payoff. Tasha better turn into a skeleton now, there's no way she's surviving that long. Even worse when you consider a Sea Serpent ship set was revealed and a Hydra ship set in this trailer, and neither are related to the monster in the temple. The monster at the end of the journal is Flameheart for sure now. I'm calling it now, Adventure 15 will be this payoff. Finally, to really put this into perspective, we'll be 3.5 months into a year, and this is the first major piece of content we get, with Secret Wilds being no longer playable in the game. So to conclude, I think Season 9 is going to be a good season, and I think we're all going to enjoy it next week. But when you consider this as a season and it's going to last 4 months, I think people are going to realise how small this update is in a few weeks' time. If seasons were 3 months, this would be fine. If there was just a tiny bit more content, like a new Tall Tale or a Voyage, this would be fine. If we knew when adventures were coming back, this would be fine. But we don't have any of that, the season is quite small, and we don't know when adventures are coming back. I'm sorry for the run, and I know loads of people will disagree in the comments. What do you all think anyway? Are you happy with smaller, longer seasons, or do you think this doesn't quite hit the mark? Join me next week for the review, when I hopefully eat my words. Thanks again for watching, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.